Hey, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Welcome in, everyone, on this beautiful evening. Oh, my goodness. It is actually July. Can you believe it? July 1st. July 1st. Going live, going live, going live. So if you're catching this on the replay or you're actually catching this now, do me a favor, hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when I'm going live. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get some things started. I know people have been asking, where have I been? What's going on? Everything is fine. Just sometimes you just got to take a little break to get yourself together. So I want to thank everyone for coming in. I want to thank everyone for their ability to come in. So what I'm doing is checking my levels. I'm checking everything on my end. I'm checking the fact to make sure that everything is fine on my end. So coming in, feel free to speak. Feel free to say something, and we'll go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and get started. We'll get started with everything, and I'm glad that everyone's doing well. So welcome in, everyone. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. And do me a favor, hit that like button when you come in. Don't be afraid to hit the like button. So, today, on today, I'm going to check some things out. So, if you're coming in, let me know how I sound. Let me know how I look. If you feel like talking, give me a moment. I'm just checking on some things on my end. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. So, there's some things going on right now in the markets. There's a lot of things going on right now on the markets, and we have to understand on what's going on right now. Just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things going on right now in the market. It's just weird. So we got to understand what's going on. And you're probably wondering what's going on our end. So I'm just checking on some things, checking on some things, checking on things. So welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Okay. Yeah, I'm just checking on my end to be sure that everything is fine on my end. Give me a moment. That's that. Okay. Yeah. So what's going on right now? What's going on right now is a lot of things are happening in the crypto market. A lot of things you've heard that's going on in the crypto market. As I always say, I'm not an investment advisor or giving you investment advice. A lot of things have been going on in the crypto market, and you got to be mindful of what's going on. You got to pay attention of what's going on, and you may not even be interested in crypto or stocks. However, the thing is, when it comes to major money moves, you want to pay attention to see what's going on, because when everyone makes those money moves, you want to see what's going on, because if you are not careful, what's going to wind up happening is you're going to be on the backside of what's going on. And if you're on the backside of what's going on, guess what's going to happen? You're going to say, well, nobody told me what was going on. No one told me the things that are happening in the market. Well, guess what? That's the whole point of You Learn with Robert, to tell you what's going on, tell you what's going on in the market, and help you navigate through everything, help you navigate through everything. So what's going on right now? You got some things going on. Vitalik says he only stakes a small portion of Ethereum. So pretty much what staking is when it comes down to it, when you're staking something, when it comes down to it, that means you're putting it up like a pledge type situation. So when you're staking something, you're putting it up for a pledge. So Vitalik is pretty much saying that he's not ready to stake a large portion of his Ethereum. So it's pretty much saying like you're using it, you know, as a hold. And when they hold that Ethereum or whatever you're staking, they hold that particular thing. And then they may say, hey, we're going to give you a percentage of this if you decide to stake your Ethereum or Doge or, your Bitcoin. We're going to give you a percentage if you decide to stake it. And to be real honest with you, I don't stake anything. I don't trust that, because a lot of times when you stake something, it's saying that you pretty much are pledging it and you have to keep it. So welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate you coming in. Appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much for coming in. So feel free to say hey. So yeah, what's going on? You got some things in the crypto market. Like I said, I'm not an investment advisor giving you investment advice. When it comes down to it, understand the reason why I talk about these things is because I don't want you to be left on the other side. I don't want you to be left on the bad end of things to say, well, no one ever told me this was going to happen. No one ever told me, Yulon Robert never told me this would happen. I didn't know these things would happen. So I want to make sure that you understand certain things on this channel. We talk about stocks, we talk about crypto, we talk about things that are going on in the markets, things that are going on, currently, and things of that nature. You'll see a lot of things on my channel. But the reason why I'm talking about these things is because I don't want people to be left behind. There's a lot of things that happens even now, July 1st. It marks the beginning of a new situation. What do I mean by beginning of a new situation? The CBDC, the central banking digital currency, has actually launched a currency. So what's going to happen is when it comes down to the currency, they've been testing it way back in, September, October of last year. They've been testing it with a lot of major banks. And what's happening is they're testing this currency, and pretty soon your money will go digital. I know I've been saying this for the people who've heard me before, the people who've come in on the channel and actually, came in and things of that nature, been with me for a while, understand that these things are happening. Okay. But they're doing a stress test. Today marks the first day of those things happening. Today marks the first things of those things happening, even now, of what's going on in the central banking digital currency. So you got to understand, because these things are going on, you got to make sure that you understand how to navigate what's going on. Okay. So soon your currency is going to be pretty much, you're not going to have your dollar. I've talked about that before. But the familiar thing, the peculiar thing that's going on right now is the fact that a major person who has crypto is saying he does not stake his crypto. Vitalik, he's a major mover and a law shaker. So what's going on in they have a crypto exchange, Binance. Vitalik is over the crypto exchange Binance, and he's saying, I don't stake my position. I don't do that. I don't like that. He's pretty much saying, I don't stake that. So pretty much they have a lawsuit against the exchange and Binance. They started in June, and they're pretty much saying, pretty much Cardano, Ethereum, Solana, as well as the blockchain solution, Scale, Polygon, Matic, and things of that nature. They're saying that things weren't done correctly. Okay. But one thing I got to make you understand is this. There's people who want clarity in what's going on in crypto. They want clarity of what is going on in the crypto market. Okay. So when it comes down to it, also, I need you to understand that there's a lot of things going on right now. Right now, this is major news. 541 billion, almost a $500 billion, over $500 billion will is pretty much is going to be gone from the banking system. Welcome in, welcome in. So yeah, that's right. Over a $500 billion, over $541 billion will be gone from the banking system in a stress test. So what they do is a stress test, and in that stress test, welcome in, welcome in. In that stress test, what they do is see how some things would react in a adverse situation. We do know that there's been recessions and things of that nature. Welcome in. We do know there have been recessions and things of that nature, and things that have been happening. And what happens is this: when they do this stress test, they are testing what's going to happen if this happens. So it's a scenario. They're saying, okay, if this happens, then this is going to happen. So they're testing, the waters, kind of like if, the last time it was the housing, and then it was, this, and then it was that. So every time there's something different, they had situations that happened with, you're going to say what happened in 2020 when everything was shut down. So they're saying, there's going to be some things happening, and they did a stress test. And what they found out, the Federal Reserve says more than $500 billion is going to exit the banking system. And you're probably saying, well, why should I care about that? Why should I care about that? Well, every year they do a stress test, and they're pretty much trying to say, hey, in a recession, they're seeing that 23 banks may not survive that stress test. 23 banks, and your bank possibly could be one of them. Let me mention some of the banks: Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, J.P. Morgan Chase, and different banks. It says would lose 541 billion due to the sensitivity of their situation. They're going to possibly lose money due to the things. Okay. All right. Now let's break this down. Okay. They're saying that 5 billion in security losses for 1% total loss. So in securities, okay, 94 billion in trading and counterparty losses. So at 11 banks with subsidized trading, processing, or custodial operations, that's 17% total loss. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. 18 billion in additional losses. So such as loans and people who may not be able to do what they need to do, and fair market value. Welcome in, welcome in. Fair market value in accounting total 3% of the losses. Now here's the crazy part. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Hey, coach, how you doing? How you doing, coach? Welcome in, coach. How you doing? How you doing? So here's the crazy part about this. The crazy part about this. Welcome in, coach. Here's the crazy part about this. When it comes down to losing assets and losing money, when they did this stress test, I said $500 million, almost $1 trillion. Excuse me, half a trillion, almost a half a trillion, over $542 billion is going to be lost, particularly when they did this stress test. Here's the crazy part about it: 424 billion in loan losses. That's 78% of the total losses when they did the stress test. So pretty much, let me explain this to you. When they're doing the stress test, they're seeing, I'm glad that you're doing well. I'm glad. Happy Saturday to you as well. So when they're doing the stress test, what they do is this. They say, okay, we're going to put a load to see if this happens, if this scenario happens, what banks will survive. 23 banks they noticed didn't survive. And out of that, $424 billion, with a B, billion, over 542 total. Welcome in, welcome in. Over 542 total billion dollars is going to be particularly lost in this next recession. Hey, welcome in, Tamika Davis. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Happy Saturday to you. So here's why I talk about these things. I always tell you I'm not an investment advisor, giving you investment advice, but I give you information so that you can know how you can particularly navigate, because it's very important. There will be a recession. Technically, we are in a recession right now. And technically, when it comes down to it, now, technical analysis, what is a recession? A recession is just simply 2 negative quarters of gross domestic product, meaning the amount of money they receive in 2 negative quarters of GDP. Hey, coach is saying, hey to you, Queen. Hey to you, Queen, Ms. Davis. Coach is saying hello. So 2 negative, and thank you so much for joining, 2 negative quarters of GDP. We've had that. So technically we're in a recession. Now, 542 billion with a B, billion dollars is particularly going to be lost in this next move. Is going to be lost. So you're probably asking this question. What can I do? What can I do to prepare myself? Now, you're probably wondering what banks are going to be, lost in this situation. In these banks, they tested 23 banking giants. Let me repeat it again. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, J.P. Morgan Chase, when they did this test. Okay. Now, let me explain to you why July 1st is something different. Why July 1st is something important. Why is it important today? You haven't been live in a while. What's been going on? July 1st is important because they did a test. It's called the CBDC. They did a test. Central Bank Digital Currency. They did a test. They have their own currency that launched today. Their own currency launched today. And what they're pretty much saying is they are going to allow transactions to be moved back and forth. So imagine back in the days, you used to go with a check. And let's say if I'm not going to show this because it's personal information. This piece of paper. You go to your bank with a check with this piece of paper. Okay. You go to the bank with a check. And if it was over a certain amount, your bank told you, well, Coach, Mary Ma, we're going to have to hold this money for X amount of days. Ms. Davis, we're going to have to hold this money for X amount of days while it processes and clears. I know you've been through that before. We're going to have to hold this money. X amount of dollars. You got to hold it to make sure it clears. Or if you send money to somebody, we're going to have to hold it. This particular digital currency is going to allow you the opportunity to send money and receive money to banks in over 4 seconds. Now you're probably wondering, 4 seconds? Yes, 4 seconds. Before it took a long time. 4 seconds, 4 seconds, 4 seconds. You're going to be able to send and receive money no matter what the amount is. And these banks are testing this. And that's what's going to usher in us not having cash. Like I said, I don't carry cash. I personally don't care. But I'm just letting you know what's going on. Okay. Now, let me get a little bit deeper. Why is this important? Today, now you're going to hear about this later. Why? Well, you love Robert. Why haven't I heard this on the news? They ain't going to tell you this on the news because they're so busy talking about God rest everyone who was lost in the submarine. My heart goes out to every particular person. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. My heart goes out to every particular person who was lost in the submarine. But you have to understand, hey, how you doing, Muse News? What's up? How's it going? Welcome in, welcome in. You have to understand when they put one story up in mainstream, they knew about that people were lost before they reported it, but they held information because they had 3 other stories that talked about major stories that would have overshadowed that situation, but they held it because they didn't want those stories to happen. So what I'm telling you is information comes out, but it's just how you pay attention to it. There are other stories that may come out. And personally, I'm not in, the media person as it relates to that, but I'm just telling you how it works. Okay. And what I'm telling you is what's going on. 541 billion. This is rounded up $542 billion is potentially going to be lost in a stress test. So imagine this. They broke it down into scenarios. They broke it down to loan losses. 78% was in loan losses. And pretty much they're saying all the banks tested remained above their minimum capital requirements, despite the projected losses. And this year's stress test, the global recession with 40% decline in commercial real estate prices, substantial increase in vacancies, and 38% decline in housing prices. The unemployment rate rises by 6.4% to a peak of 10%, and economic output declines. That's what they're saying. So based on their stress test, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, everybody. Based on their stress test, they're saying the unemployment rate could raise to over 10%. Now you're understanding why this is important. The unemployment rate could raise to over 10%. To be honest, the way they calculate it, I think unemployment could be 15 to 20%. But they're not going to tell you certain other things. You got to realize when it comes to these, all this digital things that's coming in, all these digital things that are taking over jobs, you got to understand that that's something that's happening, but they're not going to tell you this. But why am I talking about this? I don't like to talk about doom and gloom. I like to talk about solutions and tell you what's going on so that you can prepare yourself for what's coming. It's kind of like, right now where I am, I hear thunder and boom and lightning, boom. It's thunder and lightning in the background. So I'm letting you know now it's thunder and lightning. So I hear the rumblings. I hear the rumbling. Coach Mary Mon saying, hello, Muse News. So I hear the thunder and the lightning. I hear the thunder and the lightning. Boom. You hear it. Like, based on something, if you see lightning and you hear thunder, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, everyone. If you hear lightning, if you see lightning and you hear thunder, Muse News saying, hello, Coach. If you hear lightning and you hear thunder, count the amount of seconds. That tells you how many miles away this thing is. How many miles away is the storm? So if I see lightning, I see it. Then I hear thunder, boom. Or vice versa. I hear thunder, boom, and I see lightning. It tells me the amount of miles away this storm is. I don't know if you knew that. You might have known that. That's something I learned when I was younger. But it tells you the way the amount of storm is. Great conversation, great awareness. Thanks for learning, Robert. Oh, anytime, Coach. I appreciate you as well. So what I'm telling you is, right now, is pretty much lining up. Hey, Muse News for Tamika Davis. Muse News, Tamika Davis saying hello. Right now, you got to understand, I'm hearing the thunder. Boom. I'm telling you the thunder is happening. Now you got to watch for the lightning. I see the lightning, Now you gotta watch to listen to the for the thunder. Hey, Muse News is saying hello, Tamika, with a smile. So you got to hear for the thunder. Where's it coming? Boom. Okay, they're looking for the thunder. Why am I telling you this? Why am I telling you this? Because I want you to be prepared for what's coming. Watch for the lightning, the news, the things that they're not reporting. Listen for the thunder, the things that are happening. CBDC currency actually happened today. It marks today. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to go live. It marks today. It happens today. But you're not going to hear about this. You're not hearing about this. A matter of fact, do me a favor. If you heard about the CBDC, central bank digital currency, actually launching its currency today, type 5 in the chat. If you haven't heard about it, type 0 in the chat. If you haven't heard about this, CBDC launching their currency today, July 1st, type 0 in the chat. If you heard about it, type 5. And I'm sure, most people haven't heard about it, but we'll see. So if you have not heard about this information, type 0 in the chat. If you have heard about this, type 5. I'm doing a temperature check right now. Okay, 0. Muse News 0. Tamika 0. So I see 2 zeros out of people here. Okay, so I see zeros. Okay, so pretty much based on the temperature check. All right, based on the temperature check, you haven't heard about this. All right, most people are not going to hear about this. 0. Coach is saying 0. Okay, so 3 out of 5. So pretty much out of 5 people in here, Coach, Tamika, Muse, have not heard about it. Okay, thank you for participating. I appreciate it. Trying to get the temperature check. What I'm saying to you is this: imagine 1,000 people in your neighborhood. Imagine 1,000,000 people in your neighborhood, in your city. Imagine 5 million in your country that have not heard about this. Because most people are not until it's too late. I'm showing you that lightning is happening. Now you got to hear for the thunder. I'm showing you to listen for the thunder sound. So now you're going to look for the lightning, vice versa, whatever the case may be. Because when this happens, people are going to wonder what happened? Why, what's going on? What's going on? I'm trying to get you to see this. Okay. So, that's a lot of money. 542, just 541 billion, almost $500 billion that could potentially be lost. So here's the question. Welcome in. If 541 billion dollars that could potentially be lost, what is that? What do you think that money comes from? I told you earlier, it's coming from loans. It's coming from, real estate and certain assets and things of that nature. But here's the real question. What do you think the money's coming from? Who do you think is going to bear that loss? Who do you think is going to bear the loss? Probably the common folk who don't know what's going on is going to bear that loss. Oh, I didn't know what was going on, and get hit and be like, oh, I didn't know. Unfortunately, the regular people, under the 1%, is going to bear that loss. Unfortunately, yeah, you're right, Coach. So they're going to bear those losses. Okay. So what I'm saying to you is this: how do you prepare? Let's talk about a solution to preparing. Okay. So the question is this: hey, this is what's going on. So if over 10%, they're saying 10% and they're going at low numbers. Unemployment rises by 6%, could be to 10%. Now they're talking about low numbers. I'm talking about 10 to 20%. Unfortunately, what I'm saying to you is this: how can you set yourself up? How can you set yourself up? Number one, right, you're doing the right thing now. Number one, you're learning about crypto and stocks. Okay, he's not an investment advisor, but at least he's telling us some things. I'm learning some stuff. Some things that he's saying. I'm learning some different things. So at least I'm learning something new. Okay, you're learning. Number one, learning is going to be a way that you are able to get yourself above this. Learning. Number one, learning. Number two, when you learn, because they say knowledge is power, but really applied knowledge is power. So and when you learn, that's wonderful. But here's the thing: When you learn, it's wonderful. But the thing is, you have to apply what you learned. You can listen all day, but you have to apply. Well, you learn, Robert, how am I going to apply what I'm learning? How am I going to apply? You need to come up with a strategy to overcome a situation. All right. Now, here's the bottom line. Now, everybody's diet may be different. Some people may eat, meat. Some people may not eat meat. Some people may like a lot of fruits and vegetables. Some people may not. But here's one thing we all can agree with. Everybody in here eats something. Would you agree with that? I know I ate something earlier before I got on this live. Everybody eats something, right? So, the price of things are probably going to go up. Yeah, it's probably going to go up. Why is it going to go up? Because they have to have a way to combat the losses. So your prices. Coach was very honest. The price that you pay for things, long term is going to go up. Okay. But how do you combat those? You're still not telling us you learned, Robert. You have to set yourself up. Okay. So if you know food is going to go up, and there's going to be some things that, unfortunately, I hate to say this, there's going to be some things when it comes to the that's another thing. Wow. Remember I told you, when the submarine situation happened, they knew about that when it happened. They knew immediately when it happened that those people didn't survive. But they hey, Nev Sports, hey, how you doing? Welcome in, Nev V. Thumbs up. Hey, I appreciate it. Nev Sports Vlogs saying hello, hello, hello. But here's the thing. Welcome in. They're saying this. So when the submarine situation happened, do you know that the FDA approved fake meat? I ain't talking about Beyond and Impossible meat. I'm talking about lab grown meat. Coach Mary Moss and hello, Neff Sports Vlogs. Neff Sports Vlogs and hello to everyone. So what I'm saying is, did you know they approved fake meat in the same day? Probably didn't. If anybody knows about fake meat, synthetic meat, lab grown cows and things like that, do me a favor. If you heard that the FDA approved fake meat, go ahead and do me a favor. If you heard about the approval of that, do me a favor, type 5 in the chat. If you heard that they approved that, type 5 in the chat. If you heard about it, type 5 in the chat. If you have not heard about it, type 2 in the chat. Hey, Neff is saying hello. Neff Sports Vlogs saying hello, coach. So if you have not heard about them approving fake synthetic meat, do me a favor. This participation. Now I need y'all to participate because I'm trying to check the temperature here. So type 5 if you heard about it, and type 2 if you have not heard about it. So you type in 5 if you heard about the fake meat that the FDA approved the fake meat, and you type in 2 if you did not hear about it. Now you're probably saying, well, why do he keep saying type 5 and this and type 2 this? Okay, so 2, Ms. Davis have not heard about it. Okay, Ms. Davis has not heard about the fake meat. Okay, all right. So yeah, we had 6, we got 5. People bouncing in and out. It's wonderful. They approve the fact that you're going to be sold. Yeah, you, everyone in here is going to go to the grocery store. They're going to look at the meat. And you're not going to be able to tell if this was lab grown meat or if this was meat from a cow that's been approved to sell for consumption. Yes, that was approved the same day they were talking about the submarine. And that was a big story. That was approved the same day. Yeah. Davis, hey. Saying, hey, sports blogs. Terrible. Exactly, coach. It is very terrible. Very terrible. So you're going to go to the grocery store and you're going to look at that big old juicy steak, and it's going to be the same price as a regular steak. And you're going to look at it and you're not going to be able to tell which one is fake and which one is real. Ground beef, you already can't even tell what ground beef is anyway. Ground turkey, you already can't even tell what it is anyway. Let's just be honest. You don't know, oh, it's 80% and 20% and 90% and 10%. We really don't know. So what I'm telling you is, when they announced it publicly, that means that we have had it on the market for some time. Booyah, exactamundo. Exactamundo, coach. Exactamundo. We've had it on the market for some time. Now, personally, um, probably about 3 or 4 years now ago, I personally changed my diet. I just changed my diet. I changed what I ate and things of that nature. I'm not saying that if you eat fake meat, that's not about this. It's not this conversation is not about, oh, if you eat fake meat, if you don't, oh, you're bad if you eat this. This conversation, I'm just telling you what's out there. Okay. Well, I do this. It's not about, well, I'm doing this. This has nothing to do with that. This has something to do with what's in the news and what they're telling you and what they're not telling you. And the reason why I'm adamant about letting you know this information is, like you said, coach, when they announce it publicly, that means we have had it on the market for some time. Yeah. So Beyond Meat and Impossible Meat is not the only meat that's not. Well, I don't. Why would I eat fake? Well, you don't eat meat, but you eat fake stuff that tastes like meat. Well, I don't eat that. Well, you probably have, unfortunately. Hey, Neff, Miss Davidson, hello. So you probably have, unfortunately, been eating fake meat, and you probably don't even know. Well, that's not right. They should tell me. Not according to the passing of that. No, they can put it on the market. They say it's good for human consumption. So why am I telling you this? Why am I telling you this? Because I'm telling you, look for the lightning, listen for the thunder. Listen for the thunder, look for the lightning. No matter where you switch it, I'm telling you one thing, so you listen for the other. Listen for the other, so I'm telling you one thing. Either way it goes, watch and listen. That's the whole point. Watch and listen, because there's a lot of things going on right now. A lot of things that we got to make sure that we pay attention to. Now, like I said, I don't eat meat. I don't really, hey, I know people who do. I'm not trying to say, oh, well, you eat meat. This is ha ha ha. This is what they did. No, what I'm saying to you is you have to pay attention to what's going on in your body. Because number one, in a recession, some people may lose their jobs, right? Unfortunately, one article is saying 10%. I'm thinking 10 to 20% because they're not going to tell you the real numbers. 10 to 20%, are possibly going to lose their job. So in a recession, if $542 billion is lost, if that's lost, $542 billion is lost in a recession, the question you need to ask yourself is, what's going on the other end? Yep. So much is happening and going on every day. We have to be aware, pay attention. Exactly. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. You're right. We have to be aware and pay attention. And that's why I want to tell you what's going on, let you know what's going on, things that people are not talking about. That's why we're talking about stocks, crypto, gold, silver, certain things. Like I said, I'm not an investment advisor giving you investment advice. I'm just telling you what's out there because unfortunately, they didn't tell us about this stuff growing up. They didn't just sit us down and say, this is what they put in your 401k. If you get a job, this is the things that the 401k people are going to invest in. And then they're going to charge you to invest your money, a percentage to invest your money. But yeah, we're not going to invest in these things. We're going to invest in some of these things. But why don't you invest my money in the same thing you invest in your money in? That's the question I got. So that's why it's important to understand where you are. It's important to understand what's going on. It's important to understand where you are, what's going on, how things are shaking and moving in your situation. That's why it's important. So you can understand what's going on. So let's move on a little bit. So yeah, that 542 that's a lot of change. 542 $1 billion, a $500 billion is going to be lost. That means people are going to bear the brunt of that. 424 billion in loan losses, which accounts to 78%. Now you got to understand that they're going to get that money back. They're going to get that money back. Period. It's not going to be a situation where they're going to not going to get that money back. They're going to get their money back. All right. Another thing that happened, the person who was over all that situation when all this situation where everybody lost all this money in this particular crypto firm, do you know that they did not get any time? They didn't get any time. They walked away scot-free. Oh yeah, I'm sure you didn't. That came out the same day that the situation with the whole little submarine that came out the same day. But you didn't hear that. That's two stories. I'm not gonna go over the other two. Have to figure it out for yourself because the other two is political. I don't get involved in all that political stuff because here's my take on it. No matter who's in office, you got to make sure that you pay attention to what's best for you and your pockets. Period. Don't matter what, no matter how, what side of the fence you on. I vote for this way. I vote for that way. You have to make sure that you figure out what's best for you and your pockets. So you got to look for every candidate. I'm just going to give you a hint. Every candidate have what they're going to do. If you're Democrat and you vote Republican, if you're Democrat, you vote Democrat. If you're Republican, you vote Republican. If you're independent and you vote independent, no matter what person get in office, everyone has an agenda. And you got to figure out what companies donated to these people. That's probably a hint to where their money and their allegiance is going to be lied. What's in their policies? Who are the biggest donors? That's probably a hint to where money is going to flow. You got to pay attention to those things. Instead of getting all upset about who said what and who did this. This is a better candidate. I don't like this person. This person said it. This person shouldn't be running. All that other stuff. Don't worry about all that. I mean, I'm not saying that you should not vote because you should. That's your American right. Everyone should vote. What I'm saying is you need to pay attention to behind the scenes. Where's the money going? And where that money's going, just my opinion, and I've just seen this over time, when you follow where that money's going, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be okay because they're going to make sure that money stays whole because that person invests in them and they're going to make sure they stay whole and make sure they don't lose no money. That's what I found out. I figured that out a long time ago. I'm not getting upset over all this other stuff that don't matter. Just saying, you know. But another thing that's going on, another thing, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is gearing up for another correction. So it could correct, meaning it could pull back. So pretty much a lot of things are happening. Bitcoin has been moving. It could dip below $30,000. Now, why am I telling you this about Bitcoin? Why am I telling you about Bitcoin? Why am I telling you this about Bitcoin? What has been going on is BlackRock did a Bitcoin ETF. Okay. BlackRock did a Bitcoin ETF and they are trying to get that approved. And what happened is they said that, well, it's not enough evidence. It's not enough. They pretty much, the FTC said, hey, we don't pretty much like it. So why did they say that? So BlackRock, if you don't know what BlackRock is one of the largest in the world manager of assets. So when they make a move, when you hear that name BlackRock and BlackRock makes a move, you got to pay attention to what's going on with BlackRock because BlackRock is shaking and moving most of the currency of the world, most currency in the United States. When they make a move, you got to pay attention to what's going on. You got to say, okay, BlackRock making a move. So what can I do? BlackRock is making this move. What can I do? BlackRock is making this move. What can I do? What's BlackRock doing? So BlackRock is saying, hey, I want a Bitcoin ETF. And pretty much what it is they're going to have a pool of Bitcoin. They want it to trade on the market so they can trade it as assets, buy up a lot. So BlackRock and a lot of other companies have been buying Bitcoin on the low for a long time. My speculation is that even if it dips below 30,000, this time next year it's going to be well above 30,000. Just my opinion. I always say I'm not an investment advisor giving investment advice, but you're probably wondering, well, Robert, how do you figure that? How are you figuring that this is going to be a good situation long term? Welcome in. How are you figuring, Robert, that this is going to be a excellent situation long term? Well, number one, Bitcoin is only have so many Bitcoins in the market. There's only so many. So just like a phone, there's only certain amount of phones in the market. Okay. Let's just say this is it's only a certain amount of phones they're producing it like this. Okay. Let's say they're producing a certain amount of phones like this. And when they say, hey, we're only producing a certain amount. And then after a certain time, we're going to limit the amount of phones that we're going to produce. Okay. If they say, hey, this phone is a limited amount of phones that we're going to produce. After a certain amount of phones, we're going to cut production. Everybody wants this phone. They're cutting production of the phone. Generally speaking, the value of this phone probably would go up if everybody wants this phone and they're cutting the production of that phone. You see what I'm saying? So what's happening is Bitcoin has, it's called a halving. They're going to limit the supply. They're going to cut back the supply of the amount of Bitcoins out there. So that means all the Bitcoins are out there. All these companies are trying to take it, like Hungry Hippos. Remember that thing where the little hippos grab the little balls, the Hungry Hippos game? I don't know if you remember that, but yeah, they're trying to limit the amount. They're going to say, hey, look, it's called the halving. They do it. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. They do the Bitcoin halving every certain amount of years. So they're saying the supply is going to be limited. I'm sure that BlackRock is going to come out with some more guidelines, and I'm sure they will get approved later on. But if Bitcoin dips below that $30,000 range, me personally, I'm just saying me, as I always say, I'm not an investment advisor giving investment advice. But if it dips below that $30,000 range, I'm still buying it. I'm still buying it. Because I know 5 to 10 years from now, in my opinion, it's going to be well over that $30,000-$40,000. How do I know this? I remember Bitcoin was $3,500, and I was telling some people it was $3,500, it's $3,500, it's $3,500. People like, oh well, it's too much. It went up to $7,200, and people like, oh wow, and then it pulled back to 3,000. People like, oh, you lost money, and I told people, long term it's going to be okay. That was 10 years ago. No, it was about 5-6 years ago. 5-6 years ago. 5-6 years ago. I told people that probably going to be long term, it's going to be okay. That same feeling I had about Bitcoin at under $5,000 is the same feeling I have about Bitcoin now at over 30. I'm telling you, long term, 10 years, 5 to 10 years from now, it will be well over the, I would say 80 to 100,000. That's my speculation. I'm not an investment advisor giving investment advice, but if you had to go back and watch this video 5 to 10 years from now, my speculation would be it would be between, let's just say 50 to 100,000 minimum. That's just my speculation. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so while I'm talking, does anyone have any questions? If you have any questions about what I'm saying, do me a favor, feel free to type it in the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat. Feel free to type it in the chat if you have any questions. If I'm going too fast, if it's something that you're not understanding, please do me a favor. Feel free to type it in the chat. Okay, I want to make sure that everyone is taken care of. Okay, all right. So what's going on? I want to explain this, the CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. I want to explain this, okay? It's called the Fed Now, okay? Really enjoying the conversation and learning. Thank you so much, Coach. I appreciate it. So thank you for your service. No, I appreciate you, Coach. Now, what's going on with the Fed Now coin? CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency, Fed Now, pretty much the same thing. The Fed Now. So JP Morgan and 40 other banks are constructing the Fed Now trial runs. So pretty much what's going to happen, remember I was telling you about instant payments and things like that. So pretty much what's going to happen is this. 41 banks, 15 providers, they are wrapping up the Fed Now test. Remember I told you that the Fed Now, they did a test early September, October of last year, and it's going to end for late July, but it launched today, but it's going to end late July. They're pretty much saying they wrapped up the test. Okay. They pretty much had a press release, and in their press release, they said we're on track for Fed Now service launch with a strong cohort of financial institutions and service providers of all sizes in the process of completing all the final round of readiness testing. We go live nearing. Financial institutions and their industry partners should be confident in moving forward with the plans to join the network of organizations participating in the Fed Now. So pretty much that was their press release telling you, hey, look, so the Federal Reserve said it plans to increase the number of banks using the Fed Now in this year until they have all 10,000 adopted to the technology. So pretty much every bank, no matter where you bank, they're going to put it on this Fed Now test. Okay. So pretty much, you got the Bank of New York Mellon, BNY Mellon. BNY Mellon is the largest holder of assets, pretty much, I would say, banking wise in the world. You have different, people, different princes and things of that nature who have more money, but they're the largest asset holder when it comes to banking. BNY Mellon, Wells Fargo, we talked about them earlier, U.S. Bank Corp, and the U.S. Department of Treasury is intended for the service. So pretty much what's happening is they're doing these tests. And when it comes down to it, short version of the long story, um, money's going to be able to move quicker. Short version of the long story, they're going to be able to process money digitally. That, in my opinion, is a situation to get rid of cash. My opinion. I'm 99.999% sure this is what they're going to use to get rid of cash. Like I said, I personally do not carry cash. I don't care about carrying cash, because you carry cash and there's a situation where somebody could take it, you can lose it. There's just too much things that you got to worry about. Using a card to me is easier than carrying cash. That's just my personal opinion. But there's a lot of people who are old school and they carry cash and they do this and that. But I like digital stuff. I think it's a great thing. But at the same token, it's going to be a situation when it comes down to where you're going to be. This is where you're going to be told that this is what you're going to do and not going to do with your money. That's pretty much what it boils down to. But short version of a long story. Another thing that's going on, MasterCard. Everybody knows about MasterCard. They launched a blockchain app store. So the blockchain app store. So pretty much what's going on in the blockchain app store. MasterCard is rolling out a new platform for the blockchain based on applications. So pretty much what's going on is MasterCard vice president is saying that this app store powered by blockchain technology is building certain financial applications. So if MasterCard is going to the blockchain, and what is the blockchain? You learn it, Robert. What is the blockchain? The blockchain is like the highway in which crypto assets run. So kind of like this. If you sell a Bitcoin, that transaction can be shown on the blockchain, meaning everyone can see what was sold, what time. It's transparent. So they're actually building. Just to say, when back in the days when they first built a highway, I'm not sure if you've experienced that, but I've experienced when there was no highway in the area. I know it was a one highway, but then they built a loop around. So when that loop around, certain stores were closed down, but then certain stores actually built where the access of that highway was going to be. Certain malls built on the outside loop of that highway. Same difference. The blockchain is like the highway. Stores are these companies that are building on top of that highway or on the access of the highway. That's the best way, the easiest way to put of what the blockchain is. Okay. So pretty much they're building on the blockchain. So that's pretty much confirming to me, if MasterCard, I'm sure 99% of people have heard about MasterCard. Okay. So if MasterCard is building something on the blockchain, they know something that you don't know. Okay. And they announced, they introduced MTN as actively ventures into the world of crypto. Early this month, the firm filed an application to trademark a set of crypto blockchain tools. These payments titan is recently expanding certain things. So they're trademarking their tools. And here was what the spokesperson says. MTN represents one of MasterCard's most ambitious projects, in digital assets space to date. Our goal is to support a wider digital asset industry and interested parties to help fortify confidence in its future. So most people have when they do a trademark or a patent, they're saying this limited to me. So they're putting money, MasterCard is putting money on the blockchain. That may be something for us to pay attention to. They're saying they're getting ready. They're building a store, getting ready for people to be able to shop there. That's the short version of a long story. Okay. Okay. Another thing. A lot of stuff is going on, a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we're not paying attention to. Okay. So pretty much, let's see. I'm looking at these numbers real quick. $246 billion was added to the US debt in 13 days. Yeah. We have over $32 trillion in the US debt since June 15th. All right. Another 246 billion was added to the debt. I'm pausing because of this. If I take, and I'm looking, I don't have a balloon in here. I had some balloons, but if I take a balloon, right? If I take a balloon and I pour water into the balloon, okay, and it keeps adding water, eventually that balloon is going to pop. There's so much that you can put on this system before it pops. That's why this FedNow coin is coming out. They're getting ready for the balloon to pop. So if they're getting ready for a bubble to pop, because all this money, you keep adding money, you keep putting water in this balloon, eventually this system is going to pop. If they're putting money, if they're adding, certain things into there, and they're doing what they got to do as it relates to that, they're getting ready for this boom, this bubble to pop. That means you have to set yourself up to get ready. Why am I telling you this? It's very vital for you to understand that when other people are getting ready for what's going on, if you're not ready, what's going to happen is you are going to be in some trouble. Now, I don't know if you know, but another thing happened. Now, they're trying to prepare the U.S. power grid for, electric vehicles. Remember, I talked about that. If you've been with me for a while, I talked about that. So pretty much over half of new cars sold in the U.S. by 2030 are expected to be electric vehicles. We talked about electric vehicles before. If you downloaded my book, it talks about electric vehicles in there. So pretty much the demand is up and increased by 18%, and it's going to be over 38% by 2035. All right. So what's going to happen is there's a lot of demand for power, and they need to pretty much set themselves up for the power grid. Okay. It's not going to be cheap. If you know, California is setting themselves up as it relates to the infrastructure. Now, here's the thing, and I'm telling you this, everything I talk about, you can pretty much find a stock for or a certain thing as it relates to that. Okay. So when it comes down to it, all right, you have to understand that a lot of things when it comes to power, they're doing a lot of things. Okay. They're doing a lot of things to set that up. And you have to understand that when it comes down for the grid, they have things that they have to target. Okay. They have certain utilities that they have to do. There's certain things like natural gas and certain energy things that they have to put in place. So you have to ask yourself this question: how can you set yourself up to get involved or get ahead of the EV boom? You have to put yourself in play because you know that there's going to be companies that boom. You have to put yourself in play. And over time, we'll be talking about more, things like that. Okay. We'll be talking about more things. Okay. More things as it progresses, things of that nature. Okay. So there's another company, Wisdom Tree. They want a Bitcoin ETF as well. You also have Fidelity, who wants a Bitcoin ETF as well. Even though BlackRock wasn't approved, you got Fidelity, you have Wisdom Tree, and you have BlackRock, who's trying to go with a Bitcoin ETF. They want to go ahead and get this started. So that's why I talked about Bitcoin. Okay. That's why I talked about Bitcoin earlier. Okay. So when it comes down to it, a lot of things are happening as well as it relates to a recession. We talked about that in closing. We talked about a recession that is looming. Okay. How to prepare. Here's some steps to prepare for a recession. Ask yourself, uh, what type of recession will it be? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, everyone. Ask yourself, what type of recession is it going to be? What type of recession? Last time it was health related. It could potentially be health related. It could be, people losing their jobs. It could be real estate related. It could be amongst of other things. But what you got to understand is, like we talked about the balloon, if you keep putting water in that balloon, it's going to eventually burst. Yes, that's what's going on. There's some water that you're putting in the system is going to eventually burst. How do you set yourself up? How do you get yourself together? Make sure you're getting enough food, and I'm not saying hoarding food, but get some dry goods, get some food, get some water, and things of that nature. If you notice, there's been a lot of little strange things happening when it comes down to, derailments and all these little things happening as it relates to contaminating water. Get yourself together. There's some pills that you can put in your water, and I have them, but they're not in here in my office. But there's some tablets that you can put in your water that actually, helps with. That's what a lot of military people use when they're in the field. It helps with discontaminating. What's up, Sleazy? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It helps with decontamination of the water. Sleazy saying, "What's up, everyone?" Chat, what's up? So it helps with the decontamination of the water. Okay, so get your water game together. If you don't have a way to filter your water, get it. You see what's been happening in certain cities. Coaches saying, "Hey, Sleazy, what's up, Sleazy?" So if you don't have a way to filter water, get it. And you're probably saying, "Well, what's how to do with a recession?" I'm going somewhere. A way to filter your water. Some dry goods. I grew up. I was telling somebody in a chat and a live. Uh, Matter of fact, it was M&T Cooking and Living. M&T Cooking. They were talking about oodles and noodles or ramen. And I was saying, man, I remember one time where they had a 1 penny sale. It was 10 cents. And then it was a penny sale for oodles and noodles, 1 penny for per pack of oodles and noodles. And I remember my dad bought a closet full, like a closet, a food pantry closet full of noodles. And we ate shrimp flavored, beef flavored, chicken flavored, regular flavor, original flavor. We had all the flavors, of oodles and noodles. And we had so much. I said, I ate so many of noodles, I don't want to see them. But I don't think they're healthy long term. But I'm going to be honest with you. Get you some noodles, get you some beans, get you some rice, get you some of those things like that. You know, Robert, he's talking about stock and crypto. Now he's talking about beans and rice. What's going on? I'm telling you for a reason. Remember, we talked about earlier. I'm seeing the lightning. You got to hear the thunder. I'm hearing the thunder. You got to look for the lightning. Okay. So yeah, get beans and rice. Get some water, some water just in case. There's been a lot of things. We talked about the power grid. If power goes out because all these electric vehicles are loading the system up, 9 times out of 10, the power is going to go out because it's going to overload the system. 9 times out of 10, that's what's going to happen. So some people are going to be without power. So what you need to do is be sure you have, certain things, to make sure, like candles, be responsible with candles. Don't burn your house down with the candles. Be responsible with candles. Solar generators, lights, and things of that nature. Make sure you have those type of things together. In closing, make sure you have those things together as it relates to anything. Okay. So that's step one. Get your food game together. It's important. Food and water. It's important. You can't live without water. So make sure your water filtration and your water game is important. Hey, Tamika saying, hey, Sleazy. So make sure your water game is important. Okay. Make sure you get that together. Food and water. Number 2, your financial game. Okay. Do you want to invest in gold and silver? Gold and silver is pretty much a hedge of inflation. I always say I'm not an investment advisor giving you investment advice. Gold and silver is a hedge of inflation against, anything. You can go out of the country and something happened. You can use some gold to get back in the country, meaning you can sell that gold to get a ticket. because gold and silver pretty much people recognize that all over the world. They may not recognize your dollar or your yen or your currency, but they will represent gold and silver no matter where you are. So look into gold and silver. It's a hedge against inflation, meaning, as things go up, gold and silver stays constant. It's not something that's like going to bounce this high or bounce this low. It's something that's, steady, steady, checking the gold and silver stocks. Look at some things that could happen as it relates to in a recession. What stocks? Think about it. People got to eat, right? Yeah, people got to eat. People gonna eat. We talked about that. Look at some food stocks. Food stocks. People got to eat. People got to, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but, and I don't promote drinking. There's a lot of people who do drink. I don't personally drink, but, there's people who drink. Unfortunately, those type of things, people are going to do more of that during a recession. Unfortunately, that those stocks tend to go up during a recession. If you look at the long-term scenario, if you look at every recession, those stocks particularly go up, unfortunately. When it comes down to it, cryptocurrency, that we talked about the Fed now currency, the CBDC currency. We talked about that. It launched today. You got to understand when it comes to crypto, Bitcoin is kind of like gold. Bitcoin is like gold. Ethereum is like silver. Then you got other cryptocurrencies, like you got Dogecoin, which is like a meme coin that people talk about. You got Shiba Inu, people talk about, which is like a meme coin. I'm not telling you to go out and buy these things. I'm saying do your research when it comes down to it, or we'll talk in more depth about certain things. If you want me to talk more in depth about it at a later date, let me know. But get yourself together when it comes to it. Get yourself, say, you know what, out of 100% of money that I want to invest, I'm going to have X amount of dollars in liquid cash. I don't like cash. To me, what's the point? What's the point of carrying cash when it's losing its value? So I'm going to hold cash and it's losing its value. What do I mean? If I had $100 in my pocket right now, that $100 bill is going to buy me less food now than it did a year ago. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. That $100 bill is going to buy me less food now than it did a year ago. So I should have put that $100 into food. You see what I'm saying? I should have put that $100 into food. Now, I'm not telling you it's not important to have an emergency fund, because that's common sense. You should have an emergency fund. I always tell you, not an investment advisor giving you investment advice, but emergency fund is important. But that cash is losing its value. So for me, I don't, my percentages are different. Cryptocurrency, you learn, Rob, you don't understand. I'm older and I don't want to put myself out there because I'm in a retirement age and this and this. Well, you have to balance yourself out, because what happens is if stocks fall, you have to have some way to hedge yourself. If crypto goes up or crypto falls, you gotta be able to balance yourself out. So when it comes down to it, so we talked about food and water, getting that together. We talked about getting your plan together as it relates to that. We talked about also crypto stocks and what's going on with the currencies and things of that nature. So another thing, now you believe what you want to believe, but I believe that you should pray about everything. You may believe in prayer, you may not believe in prayer, but that's what I personally believe in. Pray about everything before you make a decision. Write it down. Write down what decision you should make. Write it down. Say, I'm gonna do this. Write it down. Write down the decisions. Make it plain. Write it down. Like I said, if you got $100, within your budget, how much are you going to put into food and water? How much are you going to put into gold or silver? How much are you going to put into crypto? How much are you going to put into stocks? How much are you going to keep it liquid cash? How much you're going to put into other assets? You may decide to buy, a piece of land or whatever this case may be. You may decide to do something else as it pertains to that. That's on you, whatever you decide to do. But write it down. Have a plan. What happens if the power goes out for a week? What am I going to do? Have a plan for that. If the power goes out for a week, what would you do? Would your meat be would your meat be tainted? Now, personally speaking, I'm looking into stocks that that have the actual fake meat that FTC approved that those synthetic meats. I'm looking at stock that sells those things, because if they're going to put it out in the stores, people gonna eat it. They ain't gonna have no choice. So that's what I'm looking at, because that people gotta eat, right? So some people are like, I don't care, it's meat, ain't it? It tastes the same. It don't matter to me. Man, I can't taste the difference. Some people are gonna be in restaurants eating food, and you're not gonna be able to tell the difference in the fake meat and the regular meat. Because I'm telling you, when it comes down to Beyond Meat and Impossible Meat, I eat that sometimes. It is high in sodium, so I don't, recommend you eating it every day. High in sodium, so I limit my intake on it, but it tastes like regular meat. Now, some people may say, I don't like how it smells. That's on you. Hey, if you don't like how it smells, everybody's different. Look, here's the bottom line. I think it tastes delicious. There's going to be a lot of people, when it comes down to it, if they can make the Impossible Meat taste like real meat, when they doing these other synthetic meats and lab grown stuff, this is grown in the lab. That's the difference. This is supposed to be plant based. This other stuff ain't. So when they doing that, I'm telling you, you ain't gonna be able to taste the difference. If I made an Impossible Burger for you today, put lettuce, tomatoes, and the condiments, 9 times out of 10, if you did not see me pull it out of the plastic, you wouldn't be able to tell. If I made you spaghetti with the Impossible Beyond Meat and season it well, 9 times out of 10, you will not be able to tell that it was not real meat. Well, what's the difference between the Impossible and Beyond and this other synthetic? No, this is grown lab grown cows and genetically altered cows and stuff. That's what I'm talking about. They're proven. That's a whole different subject. Okay. So I personally look into the stocks. So when I look into some stocks, I might mention some things. Just because I mention some things and just because I say that I'm invested in something does not mean that that's what you need to do. Remember, I always tell you, have a plan, write it down, write down what percentages. You may say, you know what, I hear you saying about Bitcoin. I just don't want to do it. I hear what you're saying about stocks. I'd rather invest in Bitcoin than stocks. I hear what you're saying about gold and silver, but I don't even want to do it. It's up to you. Everyone's different. That's why I don't come out and say X amount needs to be here, X amount needs to be here, because everybody's different. Everybody's age bracket is different. So for me to tell you to do this, this, and this is totally different, because it may not necessarily be the best thing for you. You see what I'm saying? Everybody has their own plan. But one thing I tell you that you need to make sure you have: food, water, and a way to make sure your water is not contaminated. I'm telling you, if I ain't said nothing else, food, water, and a way to make sure your water is not contaminated. Meaning, they got some. I'll do a video on that. Matter of fact, yeah, I'll do a video on that and post it on my channel. Other things that I purchased. They have some great content creators who talk about this as well. Brother Led Farmer 73, his wife, talks about certain things. You have David Corey with the crop. You have a lot of other J3, a lot of other great content creators that talk about this. But I will also Soul Sister, Hands in the Dirt. It's a lot of people who talk about these things, but I will make sure I make a video on these things so you can have it on my channel and know, because there's some people who, are not introduced, but they're great content creators as well that talk about these type of things. But once again, I appreciate each and every one of you for joining in. If there's any questions, feel free to do me a favor. And under this video, after this is processed in the comment section, feel free to ask me in the comment section or the video. Hey, if you have not liked this video, hit the like button, share it out to someone that can help and help, because the bottom line is I'm here to help people. Also, generally, I'm trying to keep a schedule when it comes to doing a live on Saturday nights. If that's not good, if there's another time frame that you think will be better for your schedule, let me know. Feel free to let me know. I appreciate each and every one who has taken the time to come in. The people who have not said anything, Coach Mary Ma, I appreciate you. Miss Tamika, I appreciate Davis. I appreciate you. Muse News, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Let's see who else has been in Neff Sports. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming in. I appreciate you. Sleazy, appreciate you. Making sure I didn't miss anyone. If I missed someone, I apologize. I'm just going through the chat to see who came in, who spoke. I appreciate each and every person who's been in the background, who have not said anything. I appreciate each and every one who will watch this video and share this video, like this video out to people. just understand, when it comes down to information, I'm doing a lot of shorts as well. So if you look at my shorts reel, I'll be doing some shorts. I'm trying to keep a schedule when it comes down to it. So on Saturdays, I'm trying to produce some content. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you as well, Coach. So when it comes down to it, trying to keep a schedule, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturdays. I'm trying to keep a schedule with that. If I don't produce nothing, you'll see something in the shorts or a video dropping. There's been a lot of business things I've been up to. Appreciate you. There's been a lot of business things that I've been up to. Miss Khadija, what's up? What's up? There's been a lot of business things I've been up to. So I've been on the move. I have not necessarily been, here. If you look at my shorts and videos, you see I've been out and about. But it's business related things that I've been doing, spending time with family and things like that, catching up with friends, just been on the move. So Miss Khadija saying hello to everyone. But when it comes down to it, make sure you do me a favor. Pay attention to what's going on. Hey, Tamika Davidson. Hey, Miss Khadija. Make sure you are paying attention to what's going on. When you hear the lightning, count the amount of seconds about the thunder. When you hear the thunder, listen for the lightning. Look for the lightning. I'm telling you this because it's a lot of things. It may be a major story come out. Pay attention to the stories that don't get a lot of attraction to it. Do your research. Pay attention because a lot of things that are coming out that we don't know. Okay. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Hey, Miss Khadija, I'm about to get up out of here. We've been on for a while, but feel free to watch the video on the replay. Feel free to share it out to people. It may help. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks so much. Appreciate you. You, Lauren Robert. We'll talk to you. Appreciate all of you. We'll see you next time. All right. Bye-bye now.